Okay, I think we have our quorum. We can start our meeting. Good evening, everyone. This is the full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 5. I'm Vicki Barbero, the chair. And as we usually do, we'll start the meeting by hearing from our elected officials or their representatives. I don't believe we have anyone yet who's the actual elected official, correct, Marisa?
That's right. They haven't joined yet.
Okay, so we will start because I do believe we have a number of representatives, starting with Betsy Schmidt from Congresswoman Maloney's office. Betsy?
She's actually not on yet.
Okay, I'll go over the way we run the meeting. I'll do that first as long as she's not on. I'll just go over very quickly. Use the raised hand feature. We enter the public session, which is what we'll start with the electeds and then people from the public. We then enter the business session, which consists of the adoption of minutes, chair's report, committee reports, resolutions, question and comment period, and voting, and comments and questions during, from either the applicants or the public are only allowed with the chair's approval. And let's see if Betsy, is Betsy on? Otherwise, we will go to Justin Shea. Justin, you want to start?
And Betsy's on. I just promoted her to panelist.
Oh, okay, good. Betsy?
Yep. Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
That's okay.
Are you ready? Okay. Thank you, Craig. All right. This fall has been busy, and I'm sure you all were following what's been happening in Congress with the Infrastructure and Build Back Better Act. Halfway there. Congresswoman Maloney firmly believes that we need both bills to deliver for our communities, and she has been in negotiations and continues to be as she works to get both of these bills across the finish line. The committee that she chairs, the Committee on House Oversight and Reform, marked up $12 billion to electrify the USPS and federal vehicle fleets. They also provided $4 million in funding to implement President Biden's Justice 40 initiative, which is a bold initiative to ensure that federal agencies work with state and local communities to deliver at least 40% of the overall benefits from federal investments in climate and clean energy to disadvantaged communities. The package also provides $50 million in funding for the Inspectors General and Government Accountability Office to ensure funds are spent appropriately. Although we don't know what the final number will be for the Build Back Better Act, Brett Maloney will be working hard to make sure that we secure the necessary funding to electrify the federal fleet and to put climate change at the forefront of our conversations. Just a few other things that are currently in the bill that we hope will stay. Enabling New York to provide access to childcare for over 1 million young children per year, expanding access to free high-quality pre-K to more than 329,000 additional 3- and 4-year-olds, increasing Pell Grants by 550%, expanding access to free school meals to an additional 222,000 students during the school year and 2 million students over the summer, closing the Medicaid coverage gap, and continuing the earned income tax credit and child tax credit. I'll be done with that. Have a good day.
Perfect. Thank you, Betsy. Okay.
Thank you all.
Next up, Justin Shea from Senator Hoylman's office.
Hello all, I'm Justin from Senator Hoylman's office. I've been with the office for 4 months now, but I think this is the first month that Brad himself has not joined since that time. So very nice to meet you all. This past month, Governor Hochul signed Senator Hoylman's Jose Webster Untraceable Firearms Act to help ban the sale and possession of ghost guns in New York. So this will ensure that no one can buy a ghost gun without first passing a background check, and also ensures that the parts of guns must be serialized and sold by a licensed gunsmith. In the past, people were able to buy parts of guns under the radar and sort of build their own one. So this will hopefully put a stop to that. Recently, Senator Hoylman, along with Assemblymember Gottfried, also introduced legislation to help prevent some of the helicopter noise we've all been experiencing in Midtown Manhattan. This will allow folks to sue individuals and entities for sustained noise from a helicopter. We'll also ban non-essential helicopter use in Hudson River Park, which is just a little bit outside of CB5. And will prohibit New York City concession agreements with tourist helicopter companies. Additionally, our office is holding a COVID-19 vaccine children's survey. So you can tell us about your experience getting your children vaccinated from COVID-19. I'll toss that in the chat in a moment. And on another sort of a vaccine health note, we had our flu shot event last month, again, a little bit outside of Community Board 5 at Hudson Guild on 29th Street. And just wanted to, give a reminder that it's never too late to get your flu shot. I imagine most people here have already gotten theirs for the season, but still time. I'll return the 5 seconds to the chair.
Vicky, sorry, I think you're on mute.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, we're on to Justin Flagg from Senator Krueger's office. Hi, Justin.
Hello, thanks. Justin Flagg, Senator Krueger's office. Just a couple of quick things. Next Thursday at 2 p.m., that's November 18th, we're holding a virtual town hall on Medicare and covering changes that you can make to your coverage in the open enrollment period that we're in now. We'll have a speaker from the City Department for the Aging's Health Insurance Information and Counseling Program there, who's going to talk about Medicare Parts A and B and Medicare Advantage and supplemental plans and prescription drug costs and all those things that you can make changes in your program through December 7th when the open enrollment period closes. So I'll put the registration link for that in the chat. We also now have our updated senior resource guide available. We revise it every 2 years. It's fairly extensive document, very useful. And it has some key changes now that have come into effect during the pandemic. So you can view that on our website, krueger.nysenate.gov, or if you want a hard copy, or if you want us to send a hard copy to someone else, you can call our office or email us at liz@lizkrueger.com. And just finally, Senator Krueger and Assemblymember Gottfried sent a letter to the SLA supporting the executive committee's position in opposition to the glass ceiling liquor license. I know you're voting to ratify that tonight. If you'd like to see the letter, you can send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat, and we're happy to share that letter with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Justin. On to Laurie from Speaker Johnson's office.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you. Yes, Lori Harder-Rogo from Speaker Johnson's office. I have 3 quick items. Last week, our district office hosted our annual Medicare enrollment presentation with the Medicare Rights Center. As Justin mentioned, the open enrollment runs through December 7th. And it is important for people to know that changes can still be made to their Medicare plans during this time period. Next, this coming Saturday, November 13th, we are hosting a free Shred Day event. The truck will be parked on 26th Street between 8th and 9th, but come over anyway and dispose your documents safely. And last, our Fresh Food for Seniors program, which we launched last month with Manhattan Borough President Brewer, will continue this month. November 15th and 16th are the final sign-up days. Over the last 6 weeks, we have coordinated, packed, and delivered 384 grocery bags full of fresh produce from local farms in New Jersey and upstate New York to seniors all across District 3. And that's all for me.
Okay, Thank you, Laurie. On to Matt from Assemblymember Gottfried's office.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Ty from Assemblymember Dick Godfrey's office. I just want to start by piggybacking a little bit off what Justin said about our efforts to tackle the helicopter issue. In addition to the legislation that Justin mentioned, we're also introducing another bill with Senator Hoylman to tackle Hudson River Park specifically. We're going to be amending the bill that created the park originally to remove any language that allows a heliport to be leased for any use within the park. This would completely eliminate the heliport for all users and return that space to what could be an active park use, as well as anyone that has gone by there. You know, the path there gets pretty narrow. It gets full of the fumes from the helicopters and is something that absolutely does not belong in a park. Additionally, next week, we're going to be hosting a vaccine pop-up site. It's going to be on Thursday, November 18th from 10:30 to 3 p.m. over at Hartley House on West 46th Street. We're going to have both COVID shots and flu shots available. So you can get your first, second, or your booster shot for COVID. It will be the Pfizer vaccine, as well. We'll have the regular flu shots, as well as the senior flu shots, which sometimes can be hard to find available. And we're going to be blasting out that information tomorrow on how you can sign up. And finally, a note on redistricting. The New York Independent Redistricting Commission is currently examining the new lines for the next decade. This will change the district lines for the state assembly, state senate, and Congress. They're currently taking public comments on what you think the line should be, where the boundaries should be. So if you want to make sure that your community is all within one district, it's a great way to get that input in. And you can find that at nyirc.gov. And you can submit your comments online there. And they'll be releasing the final maps, or their recommended maps, in January. And that's all I have today.
Okay, thank you so much. Next up would be Franklin Richards from Councilmember Power's office.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. As you already know, the council member was reelected for a 2-year term to be your council representative. He thanks you all for your support and looks forward to working with you collaboratively. Our office is happy to hear that the Grand Central Library is reopened after a period of closure due to maintenance. And this week has been heavily dedicated to the Euler processes of 343 Madison and 175 Park, also known as Project Commodore. 175 Park received approval from the subcommittee yesterday, and 343 received the same earlier today. The council member is supportive of the 343 proposal with modification, which address the concerns raised by neighbors such as the Yale Club, Community Board 5 and 6, and the Borough President. Thank you for your work on making a good proposal for the community and bring significant improvement to the public transit system and the public realm. Quality of life continues to be a central focus for our office. We are working with available agencies such as NYPD, Cleanup Corps, DHS, and H, which is funded by the council member. If you see trash receptacles overflowing, visit an area with large amounts of garbage, or notice public graffiti on public property, please reach out to our office. Finally, DHS informed us of 2 important updates. First, the closure of the Naima Hotel located at 6 West 32nd Street. The closure is anticipated to be completed by November 30th, 2021. Notice was served to the families today. Families will be assessed individually for priority permanent housing placement and or appropriate transfers as needed. Secondly, the reopening of the Park Savoy Hotel shelter on West 58. Thank you all so much for your time, and I wish you and your family a happy and safe holiday. Happy Thanksgiving, my favorite.
Thank you, Franklin. Mine too. Okay, I think that ends all the representatives, which takes us into our public session. If we're visited by any of our elected officials, we will interrupt, not the person who's speaking, but it will be the next person to speak. So let's see who from the public would like to speak for 2 minutes during the public session. Please show by using the raised hand feature. I see Roberto Robana.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Roberto Robina, representing the Fashion Institute of Technology. My colleague Lisa Wager could not make it tonight. Head to Toe is an exhibition at the museum at FIT, which will explore the changing role and significance of accessories from 1800 to the early 21st century, over 200 years of women's dress, the intricacies and etiquette of Euro-American women's fashion, its evolution over time, and its changing social context will be illuminated, and topics such as imperialism, industrialization, feminism, and modernity will be explored through the lens of accessories. You can find more information on the exhibition's page on the museum site. And we are proud to announce that Bob Fish, founder, former chairman, and CEO of Rue 21, has launched the Bob Fish Graduate Student Award Program. The program includes a $300,000 gift, features an award for entrepreneurial excellence, thesis project grants, and graduate scholarships for students in the Fashion Design MFA program and the Global Fashion Management MPS program. In addition to establishing this award program, Mr. Fish is an active member of the FIT Foundation, guest lecturer and mentor and advisor at FIT. And that concludes my points. I yield back the balance of my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. I don't see anyone else from the public. Is anyone from the public wishing to speak? If so, please raise your hand using the raise hand feature. I do not see anyone else, which means we will now, that concludes the public session, and we will now enter the business session of the board, which is, as I mentioned earlier, only board members are allowed to speak. So just a reminder to our board members, please remember to have your videos on during the meeting. And to start the business session, I would like a motion to accept the October minutes.
Motion to approve.
And a second, please.
Second.
Okay, a roll call vote. Craig.
Okay. Kalis,
Yes.
Athenale,
Yes.
Behar.
Yes.
I think Brosnahan is out. Chu,
Yes.
Diggins,
Yes.
Dosen,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gashow,
Yes. Yes.
Hartman. Hartman. So I'm not there before. I see a yes. He did a thumbs up. Hirschberg,
Yes.
Isaacs,
Yes.
Kabak,
Yes.
Kalifarsky,
Yes.
Kinsella,
Yes.
Lavingia,
Yes.
Lagasico,
Yes.
Levy. I see a motion of yes. Livesey,
Yes.
Mafia,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
Sigmund,
Yes.
Slutskin is a yes. Spandorf,
Yes.
Stern,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Webb,
Yes.
passes.
Okay, the minutes are accepted. That moves us into the chair's report. I would like to tonight introduce you all to another new member of CB5. His name is Fortunato Castro, who has just joined the board. Fortunato, could you please just let us know a little bit about yourself, like where you work, what you do, where you live, and why you joined Community Board 5.
Hi, yeah, sure. My name is Fortunato. I live at 33rd between 5th and 6th. I work in Brooklyn. I work for a school, art school there. I've been a New York City resident since 2004. I've lived all over in about 4 of the 5 boroughs. And I just wanted to kind of join CB5. I found an application for it just online. It seemed like something I didn't even know existed, but felt very pertinent to my life. And just kind of living in Midtown, which is a really specific and unique residential neighborhood. I thought that there were kind of contributions that I could make as not just a resident, but a long-term New York resident to the area. So hopefully I'm excited to see what happens. I've been doing a lot of leadership courses, so this is all still pretty new, but feels very exciting and fun.
Hey, oh, that's great. Well, we're excited to have you. We welcome you, and you should be getting your committee assignments within the next week in order to, be a part of the December cycle. So we'll get them to you ASAP. Welcome. That takes me to the second part of my report, which is something I'd like to inform you about, and that is that we're going to have an information session. It's going to be held next month for all CB5 board members to bring you all up to date on the ongoing and the latest developments regarding Penn Station and the surrounding district. As members of the Penn District Community Advisory Committee, Layla Logisico, E.J. Kalifarsky, Clayton Dean Smith, and I were part of regular weekly confidential meetings of the Community Advisory Committee's working group, which is made up of approximately 50 stakeholders, including Community Board 4. The meetings were held from April to August by ESD, that's the Economic State Development. These meetings resulted in a 15-page recommendations report from the working group, which we were members of, that was presented to ESD in early August. The report offered feedback to the relevant agencies involved in the planning of Penn Station and the neighborhood around it. So what has happened since August? Well, we finally received a response to our report just last week. And we have a new governor, as you know, who held a press conference regarding Penn Station right after our receiving the state's response to our report. There are more than a few misconceptions on what has and what will and what is expected to transpire regarding this critical transportation hub in our district. There has been a good deal of information, both factual and not so factual, in the last few weeks. And we will be briefing you all on our involvement, our comments, and our concerns. This is probably one of the most, if not the most important projects in our city and state. Please mark the date, December 2nd, on your calendars and plan on attending. This is the night of a rescheduled Parks and Public Spaces meeting, which at this time does not have agenda items for the December cycle. That's Thursday, December 2nd, and I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you, and that moves us now into our next item, which is the ratification of the Executive Committee's resolution on 1204 Broadway glass ceiling. We had a special emergency meeting of the Executive Committee on the board to discuss, and we unanimously passed a resolution regarding a liquor license. So I'd like Nick to give us a briefing on how this happened, why this happened, and what the result was. Nick?
Thanks, Vicki. Hi, everyone. So this was a PSQL matter that the committee was working on when the SLA gave us a notice that they were scheduling a 500-foot hearing, and they gave us a deadline to submit comments of October 19th. October 19th was after our last PSQL meeting, but before our next one. So this had to go to the executive committee so that CB5 could be heard. The application was for an alteration to the existing Tavern wine and beer license for the glass ceiling, which is at 1204 Broadway. This application has a long history with CB5. We first heard this in 2019 when they applied for a full liquor license, which we denied. They asked us to reconsider it in 2020, and we again denied on the same grounds, basically because the rooftop premises was just way too close to residential windows of the building next door. After our denials, they then refiled for a tavern wine and beer license, which we again opposed on the same grounds, although with the support of Councilmember Powers, the SLA decided to issue them the tavern wine license. 6 months later, we received this alteration application where they wanted to upgrade from the tavern wine license again to a full liquor license, and they wanted to extend the hours that the SLA had allowed them. Basically, they wanted a second bite at the apple. To this application, the SLA scheduled their 500-foot hearing, and after a hearing and testimony from the public, the executive committee recommended denial of the application unanimously 9-0-0-0.
Okay, thank you, Nick. So just to refresh everyone, according to our bylaws, in an emergency situation, our executive committee may act on behalf of the board, providing any such action shall be ratified or make the action official by the board membership at the next regular monthly meeting. And basically that ratification is a validation or a confirmation of a previous action taken by a smaller group or committee of an organization. So the exec committee, as Nick said, unanimously approved the resolution on behalf of the board in order to meet that deadline. So may I have a motion to ratify the approved resolution that came out of the exec committee? Motion to approve, please.
Motion
So
to
moved.
approve.
So moved.
And a second.
I seconded.
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. And we have another roll call vote.
Sorry about that. Sending an email. Okay. Akalis,
Yes.
Athanael,
Yes.
AR,
Yes.
Chu,
Yes.
Diggins,
Yes.
Dosen,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Gashow,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Hirschberg,
Yes.
Isaacs,
Yes.
Kabak, Kabak,
And
Thumbs up.
he's thumbs up. Okay. Kalafarsky,
Yes.
Kinsella,
yes.
Lavingia,
Yes.
Logasico,
Yes.
Levy is a yes. Livesey,
Yes.
Mafia,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
Sigmund,
Yes.
Slutskin, yes. Spandorf,
Yes.
Stern,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Webb.
Yes.
The item passes.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, we are now into committee reports, starting with land use, housing and zoning. Leila.
All right, good evening, everyone. We had one item on the agenda this month. This is an application for a zoning authorization for additional floor area for mass transit station improvements. So this is actually an article of the zoning resolution that is brand new. We actually reviewed the article, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago. And so this article basically passed, and it was referred to, and you may remember it as ZFA, and it stands for Zoning for affordability, for accessibility. I'm sorry. I'm getting all my acronyms mixed up. And basically what this new zoning text provides is an opportunity for developers to get additional density. And in exchange, they have to build an improvement to a subway entrance or a subway station that provides increased ADA accessibility. So the text is brand new. This is the very first application of this type that the city is reviewing. Of course, it comes to CB5, and basically, so this is what the applicant is proposing. The location of the site is 41-47 West 57th Street, so it's on Billionaires Row. So it's between 5th and 6th Avenues. The applicant is proposing to build a number of subway improvements for the subway station that is at the corner of 57 and 6th Avenue. What they're proposing really is to build one elevator that would go from the street level to the mezzanine, and then another elevator that would go from the mezzanine level to the platform. In order to do that, they are also required by the Department of Transportation, by New York City DOT, to do some improvements at each corner of this intersection to actually provide curb cuts. We had and they would receive a bonus of 53,000 square feet in exchange for the construction of these improvements. They would be responsible for the maintenance of these elevators. And given that the subway station is not within their property, it was negotiated between the MTA and the developer that they would basically front load the payment of this maintenance, a lump sum paid once to the MTA, specifically to maintain these elevators. It would cover a full replacement and 2 life cycles. So it would basically maintain the existing elevators after they are installed, replace them, and maintain them for another life cycle until they are due to be replaced a second time. So that would be the duration in dollar value, because they're fronting the money that the maintenance provision would last. Overall, it was a complicated challenge for the committee to review this application for a variety of reasons. The first one is that the location of the proposed development is something that was more complex to deal with. Billionaires Row is an area where very tall buildings have been erected. The majority of them without any public review, and it has basically created a wall of super tall towers that are along the south side of Central Park. As a result, Central Park receives much less access to daylight and sunshine. A number of other issues have arisen from the construction of these buildings, including, money laundering that has been, presented and uncovered by the New York Times in some investigative reporting, and some accidents, crane dangling and falling, panes of windows. I mean, all sorts of nuisance in winter. Icicles that are falling off the facades of these buildings and rendering pedestrian access to these blocks impossible. So we have a number of really serious issues with these buildings. That being said, the committee decided to raise these issues, but not hinge the approval and the review of this application onto the concerns that these buildings raise for us. We really looked at the merits of this proposal. And basically on the merits, the concerns that we ended up having is that we feel that, this quid pro quo is pretty much the intent of the zoning resolution. The bonus seems to be, commensurate with the amount of improvement that we're receiving. We wish it was more generous. We always wish it would be more generous, but overall, we're not getting this knee-jerk reaction thinking that, it's an outrageous bonus in exchange for what we're receiving. We believe that 2 escalators are good. Our big issue is that MTA is notoriously unable to provide timely repairs to their escalators and elevators. So, and we have numerous examples in our district and, outside of our district as well, of escalators and elevators that, have been non-functional for months and sometimes for years. So if any of these elevators ends up not functioning, then this benefit that the community is getting is non-existent. And as much as we appreciate that, the money is being front-loaded for the maintenance, the MTA was very clear that this money is going to go to the general fund, and there is no guarantee that it would be used or even still be available when and if and when this maintenance is needed. So the money may be spent for other repairs in CD5 or outside of CD5 or even outside of the city. It may be used to fix something in Ronkonkoma. We basically said that based on this very factual and sad observation, the only way that this could be deemed a true public benefit would be if there's redundancy. We don't need one elevator, we need 2, so that if one breaks, then there's another one. The MTA and the Department of City Planning seemed to think that in terms of engineering, it is doable, meaning that the shaft of the current elevator could actually be slightly expanded, and you could fit 2 smaller elevators that would go from the street to the mezzanine, and for the other one from the mezzanine to the platform. But they didn't seem really interested in asking the developer to do that. So we passed a resolution that is a conditional approval. We also struggled with that. We felt that maybe the route would be a deny unless, but the committee made a motion for a conditional approval that we would support this application provided that there is redundancy and that we end up with two elevators rather than one, so that we're more likely to really enjoy this benefit. Even if one of those elevators break.
Okay. Thank you, Layla. Is there anyone who might have a conflict with this? If so, please raise your hand. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Raise your hand. Okay, no questions. Are there any comments? I think, David?
Yes, thank you. I'll be brief about this. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a new computer. Of course, we're all for ADA improvements, but part of the reason this upsets me so much is it's the city's job to make the subways ADA accessible. And because of their lack of responsibility or inability to run their business properly, they shift this off to the developers, and the developers basically have a chance to extort the city to get what is already, as of right, over developments, even more insane developments. And they really have no idea what's going on in this neighborhood. the whole neighborhood is sheltered now because of all these buildings on 57th Street were so poorly constructed. There's still material falling off these buildings. So the whole neighborhood is in sheds. Another thing to consider is that when they built the elevator for the subway on 55th Street, it took them well over 2.5 years to build this elevator, one elevator, and the construction made life hell for all the residents of 55th Street. There's got to be a better, more efficient way of handling the situation. And for me, what this really gets down to, I realize we're voting on this amendment, but the as of right development in Midtown in particular is so out of control. What we really need is a new set of zoning regulations. We need to get community boards, our council members, our elected officials together. We need new zoning regulations. The zoning regulations from 1966, we were not capable of building these super tall towers. We need to get back to some sort of reasonable development scheme in this city because Midtown is a mess. There are still all the homeless living on the streets in the shelter of these billionaire buildings. There's no hospitals, there's no care for them. We're doing things the wrong way. And I would like to see us get back to some sense of reasonable application of zoning in Midtown. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Aaron?
Thanks, Vicky. So just to the second, David put it quite well. I agree with everything David just said. You know, there's such a challenge here. There's obviously deeper issues with things that are not in this amendment, but as also Layla stated, I do think, you know, a lot of us struggled on this one, again, about conditionally approving or denying unless. I would like to make a motion that we consider changing this to a denial unless, again, given some of the comments tonight and the ongoing discussion for this one.
All right, there's a motion. Does anyone want to second the motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion
So
on
before we discuss that, I just want to clarify two things. The first one, the responsibility of the maintenance of the and the upgrades to the subway is actually the responsibility of the MTA, which is a state authority. So it doesn't change really anything, but, you know, just wants to make sure everybody understands that, you know, it's the state that is at the helm there, and they're basically, you know, shifting their responsibility and putting the burden on the city by using this mechanism. The other thing that I wanted to say is that I've heard many people refer to this as an amendment. This is not an amendment. The amendment was something we discussed 3 months ago. The amendment passed. Now, this is an actual zoning resolution section that is being used, and this is an application. So just wanted to clarify on, you know, those technical points.
Okay, thank you. All right, discussion, any questions or discussion on the motion to amend? Renee?
Thanks, Vicky. I actually agree with Aaron. It may just seem like semantics, whether we're approving with conditions or denying unless, but I think when people talk about it, they talk about it, oh, we approved. The conditions kind of get dropped, whereas, you know, or we could talk about, oh, we denied. And I think when we think about the text amendment, we were not in favor of the text amendment to begin with. And then the first thing out of the box is we approve with conditions. I mean, I think the with conditions sort of get lost. And I think the stronger position, a la David and what Aaron's talking about, is to deny unless.
Okay. Thank you, Renee. Matt?
So my question is, I think the way that we structured this was that we have a number of requests. And if we do something that is a deny unless, I think we probably need to be very specific about some, if we're framing this deny unless as it is an approval, as long as these things happen, then I think we need to agree on what the things are that happen. And those things need to be realistic. Or we say we're actually just denying it. And so, you know, an example of that is in our resolution, we said we want the ramps to be wide and we want a second elevator. If it is, I just don't have a sense from maybe the MTA can share, like how realistic is it they're going to come back and say, I know we said we only, what was a fair amount was one elevator. Now actually we're going to have a whole second elevator, or we just say we're denying it. And if we, as we put that together, I would encourage us to have a structured, for it to have a purpose to come across, so that when other people read what the next one is and we use it, we said, okay, well, here's our framework. We approve it as long as you do these things, as opposed to just.
The motion is to deny unless. So it would be.
So my question is, what are the unlesses that we believe they will come back and say, hey, we did that, and so therefore it's, you guys were supportive.
David, it's your motion. David Aquilas, I'm sorry.
Yes. Well, certainly, two elevators makes sense.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Aaron. I'm sorry, both.
Yeah, it was Aaron.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Why don't, Aaron, you can speak.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, I have to pull up the full thing on my phone. I don't have it printed in front of me, but I believe the second elevator condition, I feel like we can debate if there was some gray area, but I feel like all of our conditions were pretty clear.
So if somebody else comes back to us, I mean, my issue with it being a deny unless is it would be nice if whatever we say the thing is, that it's unless, that if someone else comes back to us and said, look, we did that thing. So if it's for every 50,000 square feet, one of the things that I think is appealing about the way that they've done this, and I would like to encourage other people to do, is that they didn't increase the building past the as of right, right? If somebody came in and did this trade and then has a taller building, many of the things, I think that would be a big problem. So I like that they did that. I'd like to acknowledge that. But in your example of the elevators, is it 50,000 square feet equals 2 elevators? Otherwise we deny it? Or is it that if it costs $60 million instead of $30 million, then we approve it? Like, how do we frame that up so that other people can come back and get approved?
So Vicky, if it's okay, maybe I can take this question on the framework.
Go ahead.
So the first thing to understand is that a developer cannot go beyond what is as of right. They may want to, but unless they have some sort of a mechanism that allows for additional density, they have to stay within the as of right density. Now, on the criteria that we give for the conditional approval, this criteria is pretty clear cut. We're basically saying, the text says you get a 20% FAR bonus in exchange for substantial improvements. So the text itself is vague. And we're the first ones to basically debug and test the text. And what we're saying is, what is substantial is this. And it is not really for a matter of you need to spend that much money, but it is to say, this is the level of service that we need in order for it to be considered substantial. So it's, if in an ideal world, if MTA was fantastic at doing maintenance and repairs, we'd say, yeah, fine, not a problem. It is substantial. People are going to be able to go from the street to the platform, whether they are, in a wheelchair, injured and on crutches, or they have a stroller, whatever the reason and the need is there, and substantially addressing this need is what needs to happen. And this is where our conditional approval hinges on. It is not because it's going to cost X, Y, or Z. We're not putting a dollar amount. And actually, the applicant and the MTA were clear that they didn't want to put a dollar amount. They wanted it to be, this is substantial because this is what it does. And we all agree that an elevator that goes from the street to the platform and is substantially working all of the time or most of the time is great. But we have no faith in the MTA. And we're concerned that all this money that the developer is going to put into the MTA is going to be dissolved and can be used anywhere. Once again, we could argue, well, it's going to be used elsewhere in CD5. It could be used anywhere once again, I'm going to pick on Ronkonkoma, but it could be used in Ronkonkoma. And that doesn't help us.
I guess my question is the argument that if the argument is we don't have confidence that the MTA is going to service the elevator, that seems like a denial of something different than, hey, a building is going to put an elevator in exchange for being a little bit fatter. It's not going to be any more tall. We're going to get a whole new location that is now accessible. And whether that is substantial, like, are we scoping it to, that's the trade that we're getting, and we're saying that that is not a substantial improvement, which seems a different denial than we just don't think the MTA, which is sort of a separate question, I guess, to me. We have faith that this is going to, that in their process.
What we're saying is that in order for it to be substantial all of the time, we need to have 2 elevators. That's what we're saying.
Okay,
and on the point of the density, just so that everybody is clear, so the developer made a representation that the building is going to be a certain height, but in this particular area there is no height limit and there is no commitment to any particular design. So once they are granted this bonus, they can build any type of massing. So we have faith and we have every reason to believe what they presented to us, but it is, if for whatever reason, this site sells to another developer, they could build a totally different, much taller building. So I think that what it comes down to, the question that was really in front of us is, you get a bonus, and the bonus itself, we're not questioning. We're not saying, it's too much bonus density. What we're saying is that this substantial improvement, for it to really be substantial, need to be available 100% of the time. And in order for that to happen, with the MTA at the helm, we need 2 elevators. There needs to be redundancy.
Okay, does anyone else? I think David Sigmund?
Yeah, I just had a question. I guess it's more a point of order on whether a committee member who's already voted in favor of this, or for that matter, was absent and didn't vote, is in a position to come back at this meeting and then, re-raise the structure of the resolution and, and re-vote on it, having already voted in favor.
Yes, according to parliamentary procedure, if a motion is made and then discussed, it's part of parliamentary procedure, regardless.
Okay.
So Leila, if I'm hearing you, what we would say in this is it's a denial unless 2 things. One is there is at least redundancy in elevators. So there's at least 2 elevators. So even if you get 1,000 square feet of FAR, still we're going to deny those. And the second thing is that the height ends up being built as represented to us and is not higher than as of right. Are those the 2 things?
So I think that really what the new reso would look like, and I certainly defer to Aaron because it was his motion, but the language would be that instead of therefore be it resolved that we recommend conditional approval, it would read therefore be it resolved that we come on denial unless, and then the description of these conditions would remain exactly the same. I don't think, I don't want to speak out of turn because this is not my motion. But, Aaron, I think that your intent is to keep the conditions and the way they are described in the resolution that is in front of us tonight exactly the same. But instead of a conditional approval, it would read deny unless these conditions are met.
Correct. That is my intention. I'm rereading the bullets here. I think everything that we had in there is still applicable. It's really just
It works with a denial, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
All right, let's hear from others. We need to get some other thoughts on this. Does anyone else have any comments on this or questions?
Vicky, if I can just address quickly the procedural question.
Yes.
So something that could have happened right now is that Aaron made a motion, and as the chair of the committee, I could have said this is a friendly amendment. and then we wouldn't have to do all of this hubba hubba.
Mhm.
But given that the committee voted for a conditional approval, I decided that it is not a friendly amendment. And so Aaron had to make a motion. It had to be seconded. It is currently being discussed, and then we're going to vote on it.
Right.
Just wanted to,
First we
mention
vote-
that,
Yes, first we vote on the amendment.
but I
motion-
just want to
the
make clear
motion.
that, I could have said it is a friendly amendment, but I
Yes.
don't consider it to be friendly,
Right,
regardless of my personal opinion.
okay.
But that's why, there was a motion made by Aaron and then seconded by David, and then we're discussing it and we're going to take it to a vote.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on the motion to change this from a conditional approval to a deny unless with the same bullet points? It's just make the consensus of those who have spoken so far seems to be that this makes it stronger, as Renee pointed out. Anyone else? Nick?
I support the motion.
Okay, that's good. Does anyone else have anything to say? I did see another hand.
I have a question. This is BJ Sung.
Yes.
Yeah. Leila, from the beginning, I'm not, I don't know if I missed it, but is there currently an escalator in that station?
No, excuse me, BJ, we have to speak about the motion right now. And then we talk about the actual content of, I'm sorry, but parliamentary procedure is, we have to talk about the motion.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll come
Okay,
back.
and then we can go to your question.
Will do.
Okay.
Thank you. Mhm.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments, any questions regarding Nancy, regarding the motion?
I think redundancy is very important, especially because there seems to be plenty of funding available for the initial building of the elevator, but there doesn't seem much money being provided for maintenance. And the maintenance is why we need the redundancy. I come across so many elevators in the city that are out of service. And for the physically disabled, it's really difficult because you get there, what do you do? How do you go through the system? So I think redundancy is actually important, and I support this resolution completely.
Okay, wait, Nancy.
Yes, what am I supposed to?
Talking about the motion.
Yeah, the motion rather. Sorry, wrong word.
Okay. Anyone else?
I have a question about the last bullet point for the, like, if we have it be a deny unless, how does that work for this like request for them to create a new tool? Would they have to like come back with the new tool or like promise that they will look into it?
I actually don't have the reso in front of me. Can you actually read the last one?
Sure. CB5 requests that the Department of City Planning create a new tool that would require environmental studies to include the totality of recent builds as well as those builds coming online when assessing environmental impact and shadow impact rather than simply the impact of individual buildings.
Yeah, so that would be the Department of City Planning could do it in many different ways, and we certainly leave it up to them to decide. It could be a zoning tax amendment, it could be a rezoning, it could be any basically a rezoning or a zoning tax amendment.
Yeah, I guess my specific question is.
Samir, let me interrupt. Does this question have to do with your decision as to whether or not you'll support or not support the motion? Because
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I like specifically want to know if it's a deny unless, like,
Okay.
do they need to come back with a promise to look into it or like an actual answer?
Yeah. Layla, did you have anything further?
I'm not sure.
Samir's question. Samir, are you clear on what Layla?
It sounds like it's like they have to promise, like to agree to look into it rather than coming back with an actual proposal. So I just wanted to make sure that's the case.
Yeah, I think it's certainly the spirit of the discussion we had at the committee level. Once again, it doesn't have to do with the motion that is in front of us. So I don't want to speak out of turn, but The spirit of the conversation was to really look at the merits of the application. Are we getting a bonus that is commensurate with the improvements are being made, and are these improvements substantial?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Again, we are talking about the motion. Matt, I'll come back to you. I just want to make sure that, anyone else who might want to, who has not already spoken, please raise your hand if you have any questions or comments on the motion to change this to a deny unless. Okay, seeing none. Matt?
So I would support deny unless if we can move the line at 203 that talks about the MTA must address the funding mechanism. If we can move that to the whereas so that an applicant who doesn't have control over the MTA itself, I think, does that make sense? Am I understanding that sort of who's applying here, that the applicant wouldn't always be denied if the MTA doesn't change their policy?
I would agree, Layla. Do you agree?
Well, yes and no, because basically we're sending a recommendation to the City Planning Commission. Okay, so this text was negotiated and approved by the City Planning Commission for and on behalf of the MTA. So what we're saying is basically, hey, City Planning Commission, you need to tell the MTA that the way they're going to use this text is such way. You need to create a fund. The money needs to be dedicated to the maintenance of these particular transit improvements. So in essence, we need to give enough leverage to the City Planning Commission so that they can negotiate with the MTA that a new funding mechanism is put in place. Because this text was negotiated between the MTA and the City Planning Commission.
And your point is, if it turns out there's another broken elevator, this elevator is fine. There's $30 million in the bank account, and there's another ADA. They end up putting 2 elevators in here. They're both working great. There's another location that has 0 elevators that are working, and they can't. Your point is that they should not be able to take any of that money and fix a different elevator. It should be in a specific pool only for this location.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's what the developer is paying for, right? They're not paying for the replacement of an elevator in Ronkonkoma. They're paying for the replacement of an elevator at 57th Street. And that's what we want, and that's what we need. That's why this bonus is being granted. It is not granted for general improvements of, MTA escalators and elevators. And the text is very clear on that. The text, the zoning text that was passed, approved by the City Planning Commission and eventually by the City Council, basically says, yes, it's great, and this is how it works. You get a bonus. In exchange, you pay for the service itself, the hard shell, and the maintenance. So yeah, totally.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions or comments before we vote on the motion? Seeing none, we will take this to a vote. The motion is to change this from an approval, a conditional approval, to a deny unless. Craig?
Okay, yep, I was just writing it down. Akalis.
Yes.
Athanael.
Yes.
Behar.
Yes.
Chu.
Yes.
Diggins.
Yes.
Dosen.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Gashow.
Yes.
Hartman.
Yes.
Hirschberg.
Yes.
Isaacs.
Yes.
Kback. I see him. Yes, he's a yes. Kalifarsky.
Yes.
Kinsella.
Yes.
Lavingia,
Yes.
Lagosico,
Yes.
Levy. I'm looking for him. He's a yes, I believe. Let me I actually don't see him. Okay. Levy, Livesey,
Yes.
Mafia,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
Sigmund,
Yes.
Slutskin is a yes. Bandorf,
Yes.
Stern,
Yes.
Sung,
Song, yes. Mhm.
Sung, Webb,
Yes.
passes.
Okay, so the motion passes. We now have a resolution that is a deny unless. And I'm taking questions to the resolution now, starting with BJ. I know you had a question.
Yeah, I think my question had to do with whether that current station has an escalator there now.
I
Or is it
believe
stairs?
so. Yeah.
No,
I believe there. Oh,
there's
no.
no
Okay,
escalator.
no escalator. But an escalator doesn't qualify as ADA access. You can't put a wheelchair in a escalator. And apologies to all the residents of Ronkonkoma.
Okay, any other questions to the resolution? Any comments? All right, I think we are up. Maki, did you have your hand up?
Just a brief comment to say thank you to the committee for the work they've done so far on it, because I actually sat in on this meeting and they actually did work very hard to get to this point. So just a quick thanks.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments? All right, seeing none, we are taking the resolution itself now to a vote.
Okay. Webb,
Yes.
Sung,
Sorry, yes.
Stern,
Yes.
Bandorf,
Yes.
Slutskin is a yes. Sigmund,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Mafia,
Yes.
Livesey,
Yes.
Lagosico,
Yes.
Lavingia,
Yes.
Kinsella,
Yes.
Kalafarsky,
Yes.
Abak is a yes. Isaacs,
Yes.
Hirschberg,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Goshow,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Dosen,
Yes.
Diggins,
Yes.
Chu,
Yes.
Behar, Behar, I don't see him. Okay. Athanael,
Yes.
Akalis,
Yes.
passes.
Okay, so that passes, and I think Gail joined us just as this was starting. Gail, are you there?
I am here and I
I
love
apologize that you had to wait so long, but I think
I love listening. You know how I am. Nobody loves community boards as much as I do. Everybody thinks I'm nuts, but I love it. And I love Board 5. Vicki, thank you. So I don't have a lot. I have a couple of things. First of all, thank you for your work on Penn Station. I know Layla's very much involved. We'll see where it goes. I'm at least hopeful that there's more discussion and input. It's still going to be challenging. So I will leave it at that. And then I know Macy's hasn't had any, as I state, hit the gavel yet in terms of City Planning Commission, but we're paying attention to both of them. I do want to say on a different topic, we have to be the Park Savoy. I know I got a call from the Department of Homeless Services, as I assume you did. And it sounds to me they're moving in 5 men. I don't know if it's per week or per day. I know people are still very concerned. According to the papers, and I should have asked, it's 80 as opposed to many more in the original proposal. I think there's two things. I think we should continue to meet with West Hab. I don't know, except through our past meetings pre-COVID, much about this group, to be honest with you. I'm very picky about the nonprofits I work with. So I want to make sure that they are up to par. And I believe these men are supposed to be employable. Again, that's my understanding. So I'll work with you on it. I just want to let you know that we need to keep, and I also have to pay attention to the stores. There are 3 small stores across or near the building. So there's a lot to pay attention to. I hope it works. We'll have to see. Federal dollars, now that we have this infrastructure, we did have a meeting with Congressman Nadler's staff. We always have 3 o'clock on Tuesdays for anybody who wants to join us, either talking about the vaccine situation or about federal money. And the Robert Atterbury from Nadler's staff gave an excellent discussion as to what's going on. But we have to pay a lot more attention for the jobs and all the aspects of it. There is a lot of money, even things that would be appropriate for Community Board 5's area. So let's work together on that. I do want to say, we in our community leadership training series is continuing. I know that there is somebody who's going to be talking about implicit bias on November 15th. And then also the forums end on November 20th. We can put into the chat. April Adams is on from our office, those that are coming up. But just so you know, I believe the implicit bias was one of the discussions that you requested. The helicopters is ongoing. It's not always a Community Board 5 issue, but I think it is one because they unfortunately fly over Central Park. People are livid. We have now a letter that we wrote in a press conference with it. 35 elected officials, New Jersey and New York, signed it, trying to get federal legislation, trying also to get the people in New Jersey. There are people from Manhattan, I'm afraid, who go to New Jersey, as you know, get on a plane, meaning a helicopter, come to Manhattan, take a picture, and go back to New Jersey. And it's really upsetting the people in New Jersey as much as us. So it's just absolutely no need for this. It's noisy. We had the press conference right near the heliport on the west side on 34th Street. And I swear the day we did it, beautiful day, within, 20 minutes into the press conference, the helicopter arrived. The fuel inhaling was dramatic. And of course the noise, you couldn't say a word. So it's just a needless aspect. We're going to keep working on it. I don't know what else to say. I'm so tired of working on it. We are also very, positive about the issue of, to the credit of Letitia James as the Attorney General. She got a lot of money from the Sackler family for all of their opioid manufacturing that they should not have been doing. And 256 million is coming to the city of New York. Midtown needs help. 125th Street needs help. Sarah D. Roosevelt Park downtown needs help. Many, Tompkins Square Park needs help. All of these places need people who are experts in substance abuse to get people off the street. So I hope, my understanding is that money is going to be allocated. I don't know, it's going to go happen in January. I hope that it apparently might have some board that will be help with the allocations. I'm not clear. I'm just saying, pay attention to it. It's a lot of money. It needs to be allocated correctly. We had a press conference stating we are aware of it, so people know, and we like to make sure that it goes to, very transparently to those that need it the most. And Midtown definitely needs it. We got to work more with the Midtown court, which you know only too well. So those are, I just want to let you know that these owls, which are the little, I don't know what you call them, devices, they are available. We're going to be giving them out to all of the community board meetings. We know that there'll be a training on how to use them. Who knows what's going to happen after January 15th? That is the date when the open meetings law supposedly will be back in effect. I know people still want hybrid. So all the community boards are going to have to work together to figure out what's appropriate. But I know in our office, when we've done the borough board meetings, the OWL device has been really helpful because it enables those who are coming from home to see the entire room. And it makes you feel like you're in the room. So you really have a sense of this is something that I can participate in. On the 12th of December, we're going to do a Manhattan Future at John Jay College. This is going to be in the evening, and it'll be this is what we've been doing for the last 8 years, and this is what we're going to do in the future. And we hope you can all join it in that particular date. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Borough President. The implicit bias that you have to register for that, and it's Monday night, correct?
Yep, we'll put it in the chat.
Okay, good. Thank you. I encourage those of you who can to join that. And thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We now move on to our joint landmarks, Parks and Public Space Committee, restoration of Central Park, Kinderberg site. Craig, are you making the presentation on this?
I am.
Okay, it's a go.
Okay, so I'd like to have this deemed read.
So deemed.
So this is an application, as Vicki had mentioned, for the Central Park Conservancy for the restoration of the Kinderberg and renovation of the Chess and Checkers house. This was a joint committee meeting because it's both landmarks and parks and public spaces. And as a reminder, for things like this that are in the park in Central Parks, and Central Park touches several community boards. Generally speaking, several community boards will weigh in on this. So we weighed in on this, especially given that these are relatively close to our area. These are in the 60s, so it's not terribly far from our borders. So in general, the Conservancy gave us a significant amount of information about the project at the meeting. Basically, the octagonal Chess and Checkers house, which was built in the 1980s, has this wood trellis built around the outer footprint, and it's been deteriorating. They're replacing it with a much more rustic shelter that was originally there, and there will be, new windows, new doors. There'll be a new roof, new brickwork. All of that will be coming with this renovation. Two things that were very important that we were very pleased to see was that there is going to be more ADA accessibility. That was very welcome. There'll be about a 14-foot change in grade, and it'll be integrated in the landscape. Also, what the committee was very happy about was that they were adding public restrooms. This is a big thing. There aren't any near there, so this was actually a big addition. They're giving up space that's currently used within the building for handing out public materials, but that's not going away. They're just shrinking that space to allow for the public restrooms. It's a nice place to play chess and checkers. There'll be more benches around and more seating. The project is about $7 million. And one thing that we harped on was that the funding is totally secured and there are no naming rights. So it's not like somebody said, I'm going to give you the money and you have to name it for me. It's not going to be the Layla Chess and Checkers house or anything like that, which is actually very important to us. This passed unanimously since it was a combined committee, 26-0-0-0.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Is there anyone who has conflict with this resolution? Raise your hand. Are there any questions to the resolution? Any comments? Okay, we will take this to a vote.
Okay. Michaelis.
Yes.
Athanael.
Yes.
Behar. Okay. Chu.
Yes.
Diggins.
Yes.
Dosen.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Kashow.
Yes.
Hartman.
Yes.
Hirschberg.
Yes.
Isaacs.
Yes.
Kabak.
Yes.
Kalifarsky.
Wait,
Yes.
Kinsella.
yes.
Vingia.
Yes.
Lagasico.
Yes.
Levy.
Yes.
Livesey.
Yes.
Mafia.
Yes.
McCall.
Yes.
Shapiro.
Yes.
Sigmund.
Yes.
Slutskin, yes. Spandorf.
Yes.
Stern.
Yes.
Sung.
Yes.
Webb.
Yes.
Passes. Motion passes.
Okay. Thank you very much. We now move to Landmarks Committee. Layla.
Okay, so we had two applications this month, bringing two resolutions. I would like them deemed read.
So deemed. You bundle
And
them?
I am going to bundle.
Okay.
Okay, great. So the first one, 860 Broadway. This is a building that is on the corner of Broadway and 17th Street. It is the northeast corner. For those of you who have pets, it is the Petco building. It is fronting Union Square. The application is for certificate of appropriateness for a rooftop terrace, as well as bulkhead additions. So what the applicant is proposing to do is to actually build a sort of like pergola type structure to the number of 3. Wooden and metal, but they would be open to the sides, but they would have a roof to protect against the elements. They're proposing to build a stair and an elevator bulkhead so that people could come to the roof, tenants of the office building. It's an office building. They would also propose to build a kitchen on the roof and provide some lighting so that it could be used at night. They had installed mock-ups on the roof that basically mimicked the massing of these new elements that they're proposing to construct. And it was very obvious in their presentation that, these elements would be extremely visible. It is basically, it's a 6-story building. It is fronting Union Square. You basically see, pretty much anything that would be constructed on the roof could be seen from the primary facade and from the secondary and tertiary facade. We were a little bit disappointed that the applicant actually did not illustrate some viewpoints from 15 and 16th streets, which were probably the most acute areas of visibility. But nonetheless, we had done our due diligence, and a member of our committee had actually done this walkthrough and taken some photos. So we had a good understanding of this visual impact. We had issues with the materials that they were proposing. They were proposing to use this white-ish stucco for the bulkheads against a brick secondary facade. Overall, we felt that it was just utterly inappropriate. We did receive testimony from members of the public who were opposed to the proposal. And although it's not under the purview of the Landmarks Valuation Commission, there were concerns stated about a kitchen. But I'm just mentioning it as part of the general report. The use is not under the purview of LPC. But overall, on the merits, the committee felt that it was a poor application, and we voted unanimously to deny.
Okay, thank you, Layla. Does anyone have a conflict with this application that's before us? Are there any questions to the resolution?
I have a question regarding the elevator. Is it physically possible to add an elevator that would not be against the spirit of the landmark, or is it adding any elevator would make it so it's not possible? It would be denied no matter what, just because it's visible from the street.
I'm not an engineer, and I haven't really taken a survey of the building. There is an area of the roof that is towards actually further away, towards the northeast. That actually the pergola structure was not visible. A portion of the pergola structure was actually entirely concealed. So it is conceivable that that could be a location for an elevator, but I have no idea what's underneath, what would be required to build an elevator, a bulkhead, and all of that. But it appears that there is an area towards the back of the building where some elements could be added to the roof without triggering visibility.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Any comments? Okay, we can go on to the next resolution.
Okay, so the next one is 18 East 41st Street. This is an individual landmark. It is actually in the East Midtown subdistrict. It was designated as part of the review process for the new East Midtown subdistrict. And this building is actually one of the first skyscrapers of New York City. It's a 21-story building, very modest today, but at the time in the early 20th century, it was a substantial building. The applicant is proposing what they described as a restoration of the facade, but what we uncovered to be actually an alteration to the facade. They are basically proposing to reduce the width of two pilasters that basically throw off the entire symmetry of the building. We really struggled with this one, and I mean we struggled, meaning that there was really consensus among the committee members. We just simply couldn't wrap our heads around why they would choose that kind of design. We felt that there were many more elegant ways to actually address the issues that they were trying to address, which actually, quite frankly, we still don't fully understand what problem they were trying to solve. We felt it was very poorly thought out, and we voted to deny.
Okay, thank you. Are there any conflicts with this resolution? Any questions to the resolution? Any comments? I don't see any, so I believe, okay, we can take these two resolutions that are bundled to a vote.
Webb,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Stern,
Yes.
Spence. Oh, he's right here. Spandorf.
Yes.
Slutskin is a yes. Sigmund,
Yes.
Shapiro,
Yes.
McCall,
Yes.
Mafia,
Yes.
Livesey,
Yes.
Levy.
Yes.
I heard a yes there. Logasico,
Yes.
Lavingia,
Yes.
Kinsella,
Yes.
Kaliforski,
Yes.
Quebec,
Yes.
Isaacs,
Yes.
Hirschberg,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Gashow,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Dosen,
Yes.
Diggins,
Yes.
Chu,
Yes.
Behar,
Yes.
Athanael,
Yes.
Kalis.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, thank you very much. And we now move to Transportation and Environment, EJ.
Thanks, Vicky. Teeny has two resolutions this month. I'd like to have them deemed read
So deemed?
and bundled, please.
Okay.
The first is an application by Taxi Tours DBA Big Bus for a bus stop on 7th Avenue at West 27th Street in front of 900 7th Avenue. This is a hop-on, hop-off tour bus route, and it's a new stop on an existing route. The proposed application is for one pickup and drop off every 20 to 30 minutes, Monday through Sunday, 8:15 in the morning to 5:15 in the evening. This is actually an application and expansion of the tour buses that I believe was originally submitted before COVID. So the fact that it's being brought back as a good idea again is actually a really positive indication that tourism is rebounding in Midtown, which is a pretty good sign. The location proposed for this stop is actually already used as a stop by another bus company, so it's a known location for pickups and drop-offs. DOT assessed the location and determined that it's of sufficient length to accommodate another bus company, and the proposed schedule times do not overlap with the existing bus company at the location. Despite these assurances, the applicant additionally agreed to have someone on location to do crowd control if crowding on the sidewalk or some type of scheduling conflict between the two bus stops operating at the location ever became a problem, and you know, crowds began to develop in front of the businesses on the block if that ever became a problem, which the committee appreciated. So because it's a prior existing operator, in addition to a prior existing and operating tour bus line and a prior existing bus stop, the committee really had no problem with this application, particularly, as I said, because the applicant was willing to have someone on site to deal with any problems, and the committee approved it 14-0.
Okay, thank you, EJ. Does anyone have a conflict with this application? Are there any questions to the resolution? Any comments? Okay, seeing none, we can go to the next resolution.
Okay, the second resolution is an application by Academy Express LLC for a bus stop at Lexington Avenue and East 27th Street. The operator is the NYU Shuttle, and this is actually a relocation of an existing NYU Shuttle stop. Services Monday through Friday from 7:29 in the morning to 11:44 in the evening, and Saturday and Sunday from 10:10 a.m. to 11:47 in the evening. So these are not actually new accumulated pickups and drop-offs on Lexington. These are relocated pickups and drop-offs from a current different location. And the new location is already an MTA bus stop. So this is the location that these new pickups and drop-offs are located at is actually already accustomed to bus pickups and drop-offs already. There was a typo on our original committee agenda that caused some confusion, but we were able to clarify that there are no new bus stops going in front of any residential building that does not currently have a bus stop, as some members of the public were concerned about this particular application. This application refers exclusively to the northwest corner of the intersection where there is an existing MTA bus stop. Members of the committee visited the location to assess it. DOT determined that additional pickups at this existing MTA bus stop location were not a problem and didn't conflict with any existing operations. So because it's a known operator, because it's the relocation of an existing bus stop, and because it's a location that is itself a known bus stop, no one on the board or any members of the public had any issue with this application either. And the committee approved it with a vote of 14-0.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have a conflict with this application? Are there any questions to the resolution? Are there any comments? Okay, seeing none, we will vote on these two resolutions. Right?
Thank you. Akalis.
Yes.
Athanale.
Yes.
Behar.
Yes.
Chu.
Yes.
Diggins.
Yes.
Dosen.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Gashow.
Yes.
Hartman.
Yes.
Hirschberg.
Yes.
Isaacs.
Yes.
Kabak.
Yes.
Kaliforski.
Yes.
Kinsella.
Yes.
Lavingia.
Yes.
Lagasico.
Yes.
Levy.
Yes.
Livesey.
Yes.
Mafia.
Yes.
McCall.
Yes.
Shapiro.
Yes.
Sigmund.
Yes.
Slutskin is a yes. Spandorf,
Yes.
Stern,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Webb.
Yes.
Resolutions pass.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, EJ. And that moves us to our last item on the agenda, which is the budget from Beck's committee. Renee, Chair.
Thank you, Vicky. This month, VEX voted to approve the district statement of need and the capital, the 40 capital and the 25 expense requests. This is something that we do every year. It's required by the city charter. You have it in your packet, but the district needs statement not only describes our, actually, can I go back for a minute? I want to ask, may I deem this read? It's a little bit odd because it's not. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to deem it read. So you guys have the packet, the district needs statement. It describes not only what the district is, where it is, but also the impacts that the pandemic has had on our neighborhoods. It speaks to the closure of small businesses, the devastation felt by the artistic community that work in the district, the need for revitalization, the current office space situation, quality of life in the district, the upcoming Penn Station redevelopment. Really, it's a reflection of what's happening right now in our community. We also had to identify the top pressing issues in our community, and this was really hard. It was a long discussion. Our top three were homelessness, economic recovery, and development and quality of life. And within those categories, you'll read, of course, there are other issues like the provision of healthcare, particularly for those who are unsheltered. Subway ridership, which goes to economic recovery and office reopenings and the impact on small business and recovery. And then quality of life, including things like the garbage that we're seeing, crime, noise, all of those issues. I just want to explain to everybody, we got the budget request by reaching out to the stakeholders in the community, and we asked members of the board and the public to provide their input. That's how we got all of those requests. We then asked the chairs of each of the committee about issues that they have seen raised in their own committees. And then we took all that information, ranked those requests, then asked the committee to re-rank the requests just to make sure we were on the right track to get it right. And then we asked the chairs to weigh in again with their ranking, and what you have is the results in front of you. And I just want to say thanks to the members of the BEX committee. We do this every year, and each year we're getting better at it. We're doing more outreach, and our requests have more substance because we're building year on year. And Julie's amazing in manipulating all those requests, the 25 and the 40, as they morph and change. So that's it.
Phenomenal job, really phenomenal. Okay, I don't know if anyone would have a conflict, but I'll ask anyway, if there's any conflict before we discuss this. And is there, does anyone have questions for Renee? Very comprehensive. Are there any comments? Layla.
Thank you. That's all. Amazing work. Thank you.
It is phenomenal work, really. Keep using that word. But really, thank you very much. Does anyone have any other comments?
On line 488, can we just capitalize the letter I in BIPOC?
Yes.
Sure. Anything else? Okay. Now, do we need to vote on this tonight or not?
I believe so. I mean, we've done it in previous years. We've just approved it. Yes. So I guess a vote, and then we will just input that into the city's system.
Okay. Okay. And the charts were separate, but everyone was sent. Yeah. Okay. All right. If there are no questions or comments, then this will be the last vote of the evening.
Okay, thank you, and great job, Julie and Renee and the committee. Webb.
Yes.
Sung.
Yes.
Stern.
Yes.
Spandorf.
Yes.
Slutskin is a yes. Sigmund.
Yes.
Shapiro.
Yes.
McCall.
Yes.
Mafia.
Yes.
Livesey.
Yes.
Levy.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. Logisico,
Yes.
Lavingia,
Yes.
Kinsella,
Yes.
Kalifarsky,
Yes.
Kabak,
Yes.
Isaacs,
Yes.
Hirschberg,
Yes.
Hartman,
Yes.
Gashow,
Yes.
Garcia,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Dosen,
Yes.
Diggins,
Yes.
Chu,
Yes.
Behar,
Yes.
Yes.
and Akalis.
Yes, yes.
Statement passes.
Okay, the last resolution passes. And I believe with no further business, that concludes this evening and we are adjourned. I wish everyone a wonderful holiday and see you next month. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.